Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. So today we're talking meditation, such an amazing topic, such a big topic as well. So we're not going to cover everything, but today I'm kind of responding. This is a bit of an episode about responding to questions that I often get asked and what I hear as a response to talking about meditation. Obviously in my work, I often mention meditation, and the very common response is I can't meditate because my mind is too busy. So we're going to address that today. This might be something you're nodding along with, thinking, yeah, can't meditate, can't sit still, can't be quiet, can't empty my thoughts, my mind of my thoughts, just can't do it. I'm not made for that. And I'm here to tell you that everybody can meditate and to kind of delve into this topic a little bit. So when you say, I can't meditate because I notice my mind is too busy and I can't quieten it down, you are completely correct. You're spot on. I'm not here telling you that you're not. You know what you are seeing. And the point is, everybody's minds are like that, okay? The nature of our mind is monkey mind. Like that monkey mind, which is a term we use in Buddhism. So a lot of my references are from Buddhist meditation because I've learned various different techniques through Buddhist meditation since I was younger. But the monkey mind is that kind of jumping around all over the place mind, yeah? And so for a lot of us, that's the place that we are always in. We might always be in the monkey mind, with basically being led by our thoughts. So if you think about day to day, going through about your daily business, you might be doing several different tasks. You might have lots of things going on, and often we're scattered about thinking about them, aren't we? Things that happened yesterday, what someone just said, worrying about the next task, worrying about what's in the future, planning something. You can see it's like jumping all over the place. And that monkey mind is something that we just get used to. We just think it's totally normal. And if we're not careful, what happens to a lot of people, most people, if you don't have some sort of meditation, mindfulness practice, is that mind then leads you. And that is the big downside of not practicing meditation in any way. Because if you allow the mind to just be monkey mind, but you get involved in it and you believe that that is who you are, then you're kind of reinforcing it, yeah? So the more that we don't step back and have a look, it means that we're like kind of, I like to think about it like trenches. We're like walking those trenches deeper and deeper. So you'll notice that by the time we get to our 30s, 40s, 50s, our thought patterns, they say, are just become more and more small and the same things over and over again. So you probably notice about yourself that you might have the same things or similar tone of things that you worry about. You might be more of an anxious person, so you worry about like the turnout of something. You might be more stress-based, where you're worrying about the past, what people said, what you didn't say, all those kind of things. And what happens is we just reinforce this. If we give our energy to those thoughts and we identify with our mind, then we just give that more energy and it just gets worse and worse. So a lot of people come to meditation because that situation has got so bad that they're just in constant state of suffering. Okay, so that is when you're completely identified with your thoughts. Your mind is running you. So every little thought about things leads you to act upon it. So for example, someone said something to me yesterday, I'm ruminating about it. Next time I see them, I'm rude to them. It embeds in the thought process that I already had about them and that situation. And it just gets worse. And so if you think about all of the aspects of our life, which is amazingly complex and nuanced, if we're doing that about every little thing, it can just become very quickly overwhelming. Yeah, so that's why a lot of people come to meditation. A lot of people come to meditation because that stuff has got too much and they're in a state of misery, yeah? Suffering, unnecessarily suffering. So you might be listening to this and think, well, hold on a minute. What are you going on about not identifying with your thoughts? And that is, again, something that a lot of people, when they come to meditation, find as a new concept. So you aren't your thoughts. Your thoughts are actually part of your mind, but but they aren't who you truly are. They're something that just passes, something that all of our minds do. Unless you're Buddha or you're enlightened, you might have some of this ceasing, but that is not the goal that we're going for with meditation. We're not trying to unrealistically think that unless our mind is quiet of all thoughts, we're not meditating. So I'm just going to like cross that out, delete it from, you know, the definitions of meditation, put that over there. We don't need to stop all those thoughts. The key is, firstly, recognizing that you aren't those thoughts. And so this is exactly why when people first come to meditate, they notice, they think that their mind is so busy of thoughts, there's no way they can quieten it, because they're looking at it for the first time from a place of the observer. So I do this because if we're in our thoughts and we're identifying with them, we believe them, we think they're us, we think that's who we are, you know, all of that scattered thoughts. You can see how that's quite a dangerous place to be, because that means that you can be manipulated, you can be brainwashed, you can be put into a state of fear and just believe what you're told, believe those thoughts that might be ruminating because of past things that happened. So it can be quite a trapping place, yeah? So when we first start to step back in meditation, you might do it a different way, but in formal meditation, we might be observing our mind, our thoughts. We might think, oh my gosh, what is this? And it seems to get worse, yeah? So a lot of people will say, meditation makes my mind worse. Now, it doesn't make your mind worse, it's just because you're observing it. So when we start to look, we might realise that a lot of it we were kind of pushing away and trying to avoid, which in fact makes it more powerful, because we're putting all that energy into keeping those thoughts away. So when we first let them go, and we aren't going into our thoughts, we're just looking at them, sitting quietly and observing what arises, we might notice that there's a heck of a lot of stuff rising, yeah? A lot of thoughts flying around. And that can feel really overwhelming, and that's really natural. So a lot of first-time meditators, or people, even people that are doing it often and have really busy lives, will for a while think that they're actually noticing a worsening of their monkey mind, of those thoughts. But it's actually that it's because we're observing it for the first time properly. It's like really looking at the situation and seeing all of its truth. So another thing is that when we first look, it might be that we're noticing what's there, but also because you're sitting quietly, the contrast between the mind that you're normally right in the middle of and sitting in your center, that contrast can even feel quite jolting, yeah? So I think that also another point to make is that when you're meditating and you're noticing this busy mind, the aim of meditation is not to stop that. It's not. So we're not going for, right, clear mind, or I can't do this stuff. We're not. Excuse me. That might come further down the line, that you feel a lot more freer. That's a beautiful benefit and side effect of meditating regularly. But that isn't what we're aiming for. So what are we aiming for? Good question. So when we meditate, the Buddha, I'm going to use a Buddha quote. So the Buddha was asked, what did you gain in meditation? Somebody was asking, what did you gain in meditation? And he said, nothing. But I did let go of anxiety, stress, the need to control everything, and the fear of getting older, of death, you know, the fear of not being seen, all those ego things, all those things that our thoughts like to preoccupy themselves with. We let go of all of that. So this is a really big thing, a big benefit, and really why we meditate is that we are letting go of a lot of the things that unnecessarily cause us suffering. And we're aligning back to who we truly are. So let me touch on that a little bit. Who we truly are. So as I said earlier, for a lot of us, we're so in our thoughts, they bounce about and we just go with them, yeah? So things come up and we're, somebody says something and we're annoyed about it and we just let that kind of dictate our lives. But the truth of who we are is inside, yeah? A soul in a human body. We are the essence of consciousness. Now you can call this anything. There's lots of different terms people use to talk about this. Source, God, creation, consciousness, oneness, the universe, and your soul, spirit, there's a lot of names, but they're all pointing at the same thing, that we are this peace, we are this alignment, this quietness, this flow, we are pure consciousness, awareness. And so when we meditate, we come back to that. We sit in the seat of our soul and we're able to observe what's going on. So I like to really think about this as though sitting down into yourself and then imagining that your thoughts are like the clouds in the sky. So you're like sitting on the earth and the thoughts are passing by. Now you can either pop your head into those thoughts and all you see is the clouds, like when you're on an aeroplane and you go into the clouds and all you can see is the clouds. Or you can come back down below them and know that they're happening, but when you observe them, you don't give them the energy by going with them. And so we quickly find in meditation that when we keep returning to just being with what is and watching that, we really notice, well, who am I then? Yeah, there's this quiet, peaceful bliss beneath all of that busyness that is your true nature, that is our true nature, our Buddha nature. And so this really is, for me, the magic of meditation. It's getting back to myself. Yeah, I learnt meditation at a young age, and I can tell you that it has saved my life on many occasions, literally. Being able to know that the suffering in the situation, the external situation that I was going through, was there, but it wasn't me. I was beneath all that, separate, peaceful, connected to everything, connected to all of nature, connected to everybody. And so if we recognize and we remember our true nature of being something much part of something much greater, of being this energy flowing, then it gives us that space, that sense of peace, to be able to look at our suffering and be careful and gentle with it, but to sort of not get too involved in it. So it really, really, really has helped me in my darkest times to also be able to see the truth of what was happening. So quite often if we're suffering, we're in fear, or we're in grief or loss, or in a horrible situation that we might feel stuck in or hopeless. By being able to know that we are so much more than that, and that's an aspect of our reality, helps us be able to see it for what it is. So they say that meditation helps you be free from suffering. And this is what it means. It doesn't mean that you block off from real life. It doesn't mean that you deny the aspects of a human life and the world that can be painful, but we don't make it worse by overly identifying with that. Yeah, we can observe. So that's what you might have heard people talk about, the observer of the observer. So when you start to meditate, you start to think, well, who am I then? Because I'm watching my thoughts. The first time you step out of your thoughts and you watch them, it can be really, really profound. And don't get me wrong, this is work. Yeah, it can be work to be able to sit with ourselves, but we really want to go gently. I think that's really important. That a lot of people might come to meditation and think that it's not for them because they're adding the same kind of hustle, pushing energy that we do in a lot of our everyday lives. And really that energy comes from, again, that ego. It's those thoughts, like having to get it right, having to achieve something. But if we can just let go of that and just know that we're just going to sit, we're just going to learn some techniques to be able to anchor ourselves with our body, be more mindful, be present with what's going on inside, not preoccupied with the outside world all the time. We actually realise that we don't have to be pushing, we don't have to force anything. Actually, it's the opposite. Observing is actually sitting back, isn't it? You're not making anything happen, you're just watching. So although it takes practice, it's also I love it because it's such a like, there's practice, there's effort to sit and find the practices that help you. But there's also an element of surrender and letting go and just observing, being with what is. And I think this is the point that most people find most beneficial quickly with meditation, and I did the same, is that it gave me the space to be able to respond to life rather than react. So it gave me the space to be able to respond to life rather than react. And I think that's really, really powerful, especially in our busy world. Yeah, think about all the input that comes in. Imagine if everything that comes to you, you have the space to feel that separation between what's coming in and the pause and the space to choose how you want to respond. Yeah, so that's been amazing. And the other benefit for me, the huge benefit, there's many, has been alignment. Yeah, really being able to sit with myself, my true self, in quietness, in silence. A lot of the time I love silent meditation, but it doesn't have to be silent. But in silence, we are able to hear our intuition. Yeah, that like subtle voice that a lot of us don't know because we're making decisions from our head. But that subtlety of like being aligned with ourselves, who we came here to be, all of our purpose. That really, really only comes from being able to have that quiet time, however you find it, in whatever meditation practice. So, I think that's a beautiful intro to talk about meditation. There are many different forms of meditation, and a lot of people start with guided. That's how I started, a guided group meditation. It's a beautiful way to start because somebody is holding the space for you. They're guiding you, they're reminding you to come back to your anchor. Your anchor might be your breath. We use body-based things usually for our anchors. So usually the breath, you've probably heard of mindfulness of breathing. Very, very popular technique. But if somebody's guiding you, then at first when you're starting especially, this can be really, really helpful because they keep bringing you back. So a timer can also help. There's an app called Insight Timer, which is fabulous for that. It sets a timer so you have a bell regularly. Just helps you keep kind of bring yourself back. And I think the key in all this is to be gentle with yourself. So as we're learning, whenever you notice that you're thinking, if you're sitting in meditation, that is meditation. I think that's the last sort of real point that I want to leave on. That noticing that you're thinking and the thoughts are there is meditation, because rather than be in the thoughts, you've stepped back and now you're observing the thoughts. You're in the seat of your soul, observing. And it's that observing position, that practice of bringing yourself out of your thoughts, that is flexing the muscle of the mind. So that is like the gym workout of meditation. And remember that that might mean that you're doing that over and over and over again. But we wouldn't expect to walk into the gym and just be able to pick up huge heavy weights or do a long fitness class straight away. We have to flex the muscles. We have to go through the steps. We have to practice and build up. And that's the same with meditation. So many people I know start and it can feel challenging and they throw in the towel. But I just urge you to maybe reconsider if this is something you've been on the edge of thinking about, or you'd like some more peace in your life. I mean, who doesn't want more peace? Some quiet time. It is my favourite part of every day. Meditating in the morning, meditating at night as much as I can. I notice when I don't do it, and you will, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, just being gentle with yourself. So I'm starting a meditation group. It's on Mondays. I ran one before, and as I'm getting better and recovering, I'm wanting to start making some offerings. And meditation has been such a poignant part of my recovery as well. And all of the time I've been ill, it's been my friend, I'm very grateful for the skill and the ability to be able to sit with myself in lots of different ways. So I'd like to teach that, pass that on, and just hold space for a group. So this will be an informal group. We'll have a guided meditation, an intro, a space to share, and we'll be trying lots of different meditation and relaxation techniques. So meditation and relaxation. So to try and find different ways that could be your into meditation. Yeah, some people will like different techniques, and I'd love to share the different aspects of meditation that could really help be your way into it. Or maybe you already are a seasoned meditator and you want a group to meditate with. A group is really powerful. That group intention of coming together and all meditating is like nothing else. It's how I started, and it's how I still absolutely love to meditate. So come and join us. It's Mondays, 7 p.m. UK time. You can find all the details below in the show notes. But do share your experience of meditation. Let's get a conversation going. Like, this is such an amazing topic, something that really, I fully believe in, and I've watched it transform my life. So from my heart to yours, I hope that you can find the same, and that, I really wish the benefit of meditation upon other people, for them to find their way with it as well. So I'm going to leave you there. Thank you for joining me today. Do drop a comment and let me know if you like the video. Just all of that really supports the show and the channel, being able to share more of these conversations and reach out to more people. So thanks again for being here. Go gently. Namaste.